Yeah, we got lots to say. Now here's Bobby and Matt.
Hey, welcome back. Matt Castle, Bobby Bones, and Eric Decker. Eric, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me over.
You're the first athlete I think that I've known ahead of you getting here. Usually Matt just shows up with somebody.
That's a true statement.
It's like who shows up to the
this
party?
week?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, meet my friend Randall Cobb. Hey, Randall. Or, I thought he was you at my front door. And
Yeah, there's some resemblance there.
Well, no, you just kind of suck at following through to tell people where to go, I think.
Well, I told him the address. I figured he would text me, and I said, didn't I say text me when you get here?
No, you didn't.
Didn't
Oh, no,
I
I didn't.
say?
Well, that's my
And
bad.
it's
I was in
okay.
the middle of texting him. He's usually late to things. I just know this from
He
all
was
of our kids.
extremely early.
Yeah, shockingly.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
And I thought it was you at
darts.
the front door, and I said, hey,
Here is the address for today. You can get there at 12:45, and we'll start at 1.
nothing else.
Just
He-
find your way wherever, smell the studio.
Well, I saw him through the window, and I just did a woo, like a finger whip. How was he to know what that means? I thought it was you.
And I've never come to your front door. You probably thought I had to go to the bathroom really
Well, I
bad
was
or
like-
something. You're like, no, bro, you got to go in the back.
Yeah. So good to see you.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you and I have been
Yeah, that's
together
what I
in
was gonna
different circumstances. Never like a sports show. Always
Yeah.
something more pop culture or country music, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When did you guys first meet?
The summer of '62. We were both young gentlemen.
back in-
Did you guys ever play together?
We did for the Tennessee Titans for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years of the greatest years of my life.
1 year, but who's counting?
1 year, yeah, 17, right? That's what I meant.
17, yeah.
1 year.
Did you guys win? What was that year for you guys?
Actually, we went to a playoff. We went to the playoffs. We beat
The Chiefs.
the Chiefs in the first round, and then we went to New England and kind of got beat down a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was overall a successful year for us, and that was my second year. That was Mariota's third season, right?
It was, yeah. A lot of coaching changes, I think, but I got a great story from that year between me and Cass.
I'm here for it. I'm like the.
Let's get into it.
I'm like the
let's get into
girlfriend
it.
who wants to hear all the stories about their before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a kind of a weird analogy.
why-
But yeah.
Girls.
This is why I love Matt, though, because, there's no boundary, I guess. Well, anyways, it's like week 8, 9. We're in Pittsburgh, Thursday night, I think, or it's a primetime game. And I had these packages leading up. And so my story was I was kind of hurt in training camp and then try to come along and just kind of struggled really all season, to be honest. But that game, I felt like I had more packages for me. And then we never got to them. So I'm on the sideline the whole time. It's third down, go in quick, And then
Were you playing on the inside? Were you playing the slot more?
Yeah, I was
at that
playing-
point.
I was playing slot more. We had some injuries, so I was kind of moving around a little bit. But Rashard Matthews played outside for the most part. I was inside. Well, it's the fourth quarter, 2-minute drill, and I'm like, in a sense, mentally checked out because I'm like, well, this didn't go how I thought it was going.
So pissed.
And the receiver coach is like, all right, get in. Young guys need to come out. You need to get in. I'm like, no, keep the young guys in there. You want them to play all game? Keep them in there. And I don't know if someone got in Castle's ear.
So he came up to me. He goes, "Hey, Cass, you got to help me out." He's like, Decker won't go in the game. I said, "What the?" I was because I'm sitting there and look, I'm just one of those guys. I was like, "What do you mean he won't go in the game?" Right? Because in my point of view was Marcus was banged up. He had the AC joint, which a lot of people didn't know. And it's the fourth quarter. We're grinding away. We're getting beat pretty steadily. But then I go over and I'm in a rage.
You're not in the game.
I'm not even in the game.
So they come to you on the sideline to say,
because they know, look, I'm a veteran guy. And he's a veteran, so I go up and I blow a gasket. I literally go up and said,
He's in my face.
I'm in his face. I said, "I'll beat your ass. I can't believe you wouldn't go in the game right now. Are you kidding me? You're quitting on." And look, I didn't know all the circumstances. I just was in a rage. Then he comes back at me. We got to get separated on the sideline.
"Oh, this is real."
Yeah, we are going to go fisticuff. So then this is at the end of the game, right? So we go in, I'm hot. And so I get back on the bus. I'm always on the third bus. I'm sitting in the back, and we've got the Bears back there. We got Ben Jones. We got the group. And Deck usually sits, about the middle or so?
Yeah.
So he's walking to the back of the bus, and I'm sitting down, and I was like, "Oh, no, I'm getting up for this because we're about to go." Because I thought he was coming back to confront me, and we were about to go to blows. And so I get up, and I stand up in the middle of the thing. And so now I'm looking like, is he going to swing on me? What's he going to do? And I'm getting ready to go, and he sticks out his hand. He goes, "Cass, you were right, and I'm sorry." And then literally we sat down together and had a full conversation for about 20, 30 minutes about it and gave both of our point of views, a better understanding for what each of us were going through at that point. And that got squashed, but it made us closer.
Is that the only time you've ever got into it with your own teammate on the sideline?
No, it for sure
No,
wasn't.
he's like,
That was one of the biggest ones, though, because, it was a critical time in the game, but we were kind of blowing out, and, like, young guys were in the whole game. Like, just keep him in there. And so when he came over, I was already pissed off how the game was going. And so we were exchanging. But there's
You weren't mad at him. You were mad at the situation. He was just a person that was going to suffer from you. Yeah.
I was the messenger, and I was mad.
I never thought of you as being like the enforcer, though. I look at you different now.
Well, I was a guy that could absolutely, I didn't shy away from confrontation, and I'd let somebody know where they would stand. And I think that's what people appreciate about me too. I wouldn't hold back my feelings or emotions or anything like that. But at the same time, if it was go time, they would know that I'm ready to go.
I've often talked about how when I see people fighting with each other, how if they keep their helmets on, you can actually do a lot more fighting with the helmet on, especially if you're just verbalizing it, because we can't tell.
Yeah.
Like if you keep the helmet on, you can say whatever you want, as aggressive as you want, because we can't tell because of the mask. In basketball and baseball, you can't do that because there is no mask.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's probably a lot of these type of situations without us knowing, because you're not touching each other and you can scream at each other if you leave the helmet on. Yeah. Would that be accurate?
I think so. I mean, it depends on the season too. Like training camp, you got that all the time, and it's usually offense, defense, kind of back and forth. Just because you're tired, you're banged up, and it's hot, and you're just like ready to be done with what you're doing. And so there's been plenty of times that it's gotten into a physical altercation, but a lot of times it is chattering back and forth. And especially on the sideline too, we're all competitors, and so we want to win. We think things should go a certain way. We want to communication. In a sense, as a warrior, is like you're going to come full force aggressiveness, and so it comes off that way. But at the end of the day, I mean, like I love Cass, and our confrontation was like a growing moment for us because we were able to overcome it. Right, and I think that happens a lot throughout the league and teams.
Go ahead.
No, I was
going to talk about something else.
No, you definitely get into
I don't want you to fight now. Like I'm just like trying
Training camp's awesome for a quarterback because all the big guys and even wide receivers, DBs, it's so competitive and it gets just so methodical day in and day out going up against each other. They know your offense, you know their defense, and then guys get scrappy. But from a quarterback perspective, when they get in a fight, it almost is entertainment because I'm sitting there like, should I break this up or should I watch these guys go? Kind of, I'm not going to go get in the mix and like throw blows or anything, but it's an entertaining part of camp, and it happens every single year. Usually you get more verbal altercations than anything else. I do remember one scrap, though, during training camp. I was with Kansas City, and we had Thomas Jones and Jonathan, it's not Baldwin. Maybe it is Baldwin. Jonathan Baldwin. He was our first-round pick. And so he's sitting there, and Thomas and him start mouthing off back and forth, and we're throwing medicine balls off of, like, the blocks. And so you sit down and throw out, and so finally you got to a point, and Thomas Jones had enough, and he was a full veteran guy, like 12 years in, didn't take shit off anybody. He turns around and chucks this medicine ball into Jonathan's face, wham, from point blank range, and they go full scrap in the weight room. And I was like, what is going on right now?
No pads, by the way. They're lifting. So they're in shorts and shorts.
We're lifting. Jonathan, of course, throws a blow, hits him, breaks his thumb, out for the first 6 weeks of the season. So it's like one of those where you're like, look, guys, we got to know when to get in these things and when not to. But if it hurts the team, that's when it becomes a bad situation.
Geno Smith, broken jaw in the locker room.
Oh, yeah. Were you there for that?
I was in the locker room.
Tell the story.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, it was over. It's nonsense. So I forget the defensive player's name, but he was invited to Geno's camp that summer for kids, and he decided not to show up. And so Geno was mad. Geno was yapping at him. Actually, it's the other way around. Excuse me. This defensive player was having a camp for kids. Geno's supposed to come. He didn't. He canceled. Well, in training camp, it was an issue, I guess. And so all of a sudden, they're yapping away, and Geno comes over and says something. He turns around and clocks him in the jaw where, I mean, he had surgery, closed jaw. He was out. We had Fitzpatrick come in. That kind of changed the season for us, 2015 New York, because we had a successful season with Fitzpatrick. But, man, just like stupid stuff, like you're saying.
Well, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't come to my camp. Wah-bah!
It does make sense, just the environment of you've got competitive people, obviously. You've got a lot of testosterone. You've got people that are not only you're competing against each other the first part of the year too. Mm-hmm. Like I can see where you could really and the weather sucks. It's hot as balls almost everywhere.
Everywhere.
So with that, I can see that there were probably a lot of fights. But with you, both of you guys, was it always it's going to happen, but let's make sure it stays inside the locker room? We don't share this outside of the locker room?
100%. And nowadays, I think that it's probably more open just because of social media. Somebody says one thing or tells an agent and it gets out, especially if somebody's hurt. Like in Geno's circumstance, there's no hiding that. He's out for the first part of the season. There was no hiding Jonathan Baldwin breaking his thumb, hitting somebody, and that comes out. But for the most part, I've been in the locker room where there's been altercations and blows thrown and all that stuff where it's in-house, it's handled in-house. There might be some kind of fine, conduct detrimental, something like that. But usually it's not released out into the media unless somebody squeals and somebody says something, which, then the coach is going to identify it or try to identify it and address it before it gets out of control.
I was talking to yesterday PJ Fleck, the head coach of Minnesota.
Yes.
Row the boat, babe.
Row the boat.
So, and I really like that guy.
He's awesome.
You like him?
He's elite.
Obviously, you have at least an emotional relationship. That's where you went to school, right?
Yeah.
It's cold as crap. I was trying to convince him to come down to Arkansas. We need a coach. And I was letting him know what the weather's like, a little more temperate. The fall colors are beautiful. And I think he's pretty happy up there. Minnesota, though, man, that's cold.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes in that played, especially even with Castle playing in Kansas City, I just stay and talk about how cold it is. Like, that's a different kind of cold, right, when it gets later in the year?
It is. I mean, I grew up there. So.
And to be a wide receiver, too.
Yeah, but when you live there, you're raised there, you don't know any better. My vacations were Wisconsin, South Dakota. Like that.
You stayed in the cold.
I didn't leave the Midwest. I didn't know
That's
there was
not a beach.
warm weather in the South. But no, you're right. I mean, it definitely 6 months out of the year now is unbearable for me. Like I could never live there or raise my family there. It's a beautiful place in the summer, but it does get really tough. And I think it maybe speaks to the character of those that survive. Like my parents are in their 70s and they're still in. I'm like, you choose to be here, but it's their community, And I think it builds the character, and happy for them. But I could never do it.
What do you think about him?
PJ, yeah. I love PJ. I was down here recruiting last year. We had dinner, and I'll get up to a game once a year. Usually, I'll try to make it up there for the fall. But I love just his character, his story. He gets the most out of his guys. And Minnesota is kind of like a farm system, I feel like, for the Big Ten. Like, it's hard to keep really good players. And so he really does suck the most out of his guys. And he gets some good athletes. We've had skilled guys over the last 5 years. And usually it's not hard to get big guys in Minnesota, but just fun to see them play. And I think his energy is so infectious. It's kind of spread throughout the whole campus, really. And so I'm happy for his success. Not much expectations for Minnesota because of the Ohio States, the Michigans, the USC, now Oregons, but what they're doing at Minnesota's been incredible.
Just had a big win, though, against Nebraska, didn't they?
Own Nebraska. He's like 7-1 against Nebraska. He did say, though, he's like 1-7 against Iowa.
Yeah.
He said, to be fair, that he might own Matt Rule, but he gets owned by Iowa.
Coach Ferentz.
And they're going to play this week. When you guys played Iowa, I mean, was that you guys' biggest rival? Who won?
Wisconsin, Iowa were the biggest. I beat Iowa once and never beat Wisconsin. So
what were you guys playing for? What was the trophy?
It was
I know
the
you got a
pig.
trophy for
the 100-pound pig.
Right? The pig for
Yeah.
the Iowa game, yeah. Then the axe for the Wisconsin game. But the pig, for the Iowa was huge. I remember, that thing weighs probably 300 pounds too. So the first time we won it, it's like
Wait, it was 300 pounds?
I felt like it was 300 pounds. I don't know, but
and he lifted up by himself.
One arm.
Did overhead presses.
I think the golf cart was brought over just to throw it on it. But no, it was those games are fun because it makes it more special. It's a big rivalry, and to have something to play for and showcase, in the facility is cool.
So, growing up in high school, you were a three-sport athlete. What was the coldest that you played in high school into a football game? Because you guys are playing, obviously, when the weather starts to turn. Yeah,
I think we kind of ended, state tournament was in November, but that was in the Metrodome when it was around.
Oh, really?
So we were inside then. But I would say a game in Fergus Falls, which is like northern Minnesota, late October, just kind of like probably New England, where it was single digits, maybe 0 degrees with a wind chill of, -10, -15.
And you probably didn't have the equipment like or
Yeah, but New England, you're getting paid, and they have equipment.
And they've got equipment people that'll be like, hey, dude, wear these 3 sleeves, and you'll actually be
heated benches. Yeah.
You know anybody that's ever lost a toe or a finger in that conditions?
Luckily, no. I don't think
That's
so.
a good question.
Right?
Yeah. Why'd you go to Minnesota? Was it easy?
Well, it was the only scholarship I got. So my plan was from a small town in rural Minnesota, I was going to go to a Division III school. St. John's was a big program at the time. And, I was kind of a homebody, didn't go to any camps, didn't really showcase myself, but got invited to one day go for camp. And I'm like, all right, why not? I'll go down. So I went down and on the spot, Glenn Mason offered me a scholarship. I was like, I'll take it. Like, I mean, I had nothing else.
But what about basketball or baseball? I assume the three are baseball, unless it's like lacrosse or something. I don't know what the other three sports were.
Yeah, baseball and basketball.
Yeah.
Baseball,
Swimming.
They didn't have full scholarships at the time. Basketball, maybe Division II, Division III type offers. It was always lower tier offers, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay close to home. That was kind of always the mindset. I wanted to play all three sports in college, so that felt like that was the route I wanted to go. And I'm happy that I really changed the trajectory and went to Minnesota because it obviously changed my life.
When did you start actually catching balls? Because you have the record there, right, for receptions?
At Minnesota?
Yeah.
I think I still do. I know Tyler Johnson was catching up somewhere.
See, were you looking to his first and second?
Yeah,
Kevin?
let's see that. That's
First in receptions, second in yards.
Okay.
first in receptions. Let's go.
When
bro.
did you start catching balls? Freshman year?
Freshman year, yeah.
Did you play immediately?
I redshirted. So I redshirted my first year. Actually, it was close to getting in, so my receiver coach made me leave my helmet in the locker room because he didn't want me to burn
it. Was it a four-game back
We
then?
need you down the road.
It was once you play one down, you're
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was it one down back then?
yeah.
I thought it was 3 games.
Well, it's four
Oh,
now.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You have to redshirt before the 3rd game if you haven't played yet. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And
wild.
it was like we were ranked my redshirt year close to top 10, top 15, but we were playing Penn State at Penn State, and we got wrecked. But it was kind of in that time range where he wanted to throw me in, and luckily I didn't. But it was good development that first year because, I mean, what a change of pace from high school to college.
Talk about the development that you went through from coming in as a freshman, probably a little bit raw, and then this is big time football, and the development from year 1 to year 2, and then as you advance through those years.
Yeah. That first year was tough. First of all, I put on 15 pounds because the buffets during training camp were phenomenal. So I thought I had asthma, so I was just fat.
But belly won't.
But it was, the grind of practices and then balancing the school as well. There was a time after the season, because I redshirted, I wasn't playing, I was a practice dummy. And it was 5 degrees outside. We had 5 o'clock workouts. I had a moped. I'm there with my snowmobile helmet on and my snowmobile.
Like Dumb and Dumber, frozen.
Seriously, yeah.
Just snot.
I lived a half a mile from the facility, maybe a little further than that. But I'm riding. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what? Like, do I really want this? And I was questioning if this was my future. And so I had kind of a come to Jesus moment. And man, it was just that grind in the offseason was so hard. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with it. And I stuck with it. So my redshirt year, I started to play special teams. I started to play receiver. Had kind of a position and had success. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I think I can play with these guys. And started to build confidence. And I had a lot of older guys that were great mentors. Matt Spaeth played in the league and won a championship at Pittsburgh. Logan Payne was an older receiver who kind of took me under his wing. And so those guys were really helpful in just my development early on of building confidence and understanding, what it takes to be a football player in the Big Ten. And so as the years kind of chugged along, I just had more confidence that, okay, I can play. And I built my strength up. I got a little faster, did some off-season workouts with Larry Fitzgerald. And like just being around that environment, I was like, I love this. This is what I want to do.
At what point did you realize that if you set a goal to play the next level, it was possible?
Probably my redshirt sophomore year. There was, pro caliber DBs on other Big Ten teams, and I was having success against them. I was like, I can play with these guys. I think I can make it to the next step up. So that was kind of like the lead into the confidence. That's everything about an athlete, is just having confidence in your ability and performing at a high level. And so that was probably the turning point halfway through my sophomore year when I was having success.
And then you also played baseball in college, right? And how did that work with off-season training? And
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Did you get out of it?
I got out of it,
I played 1 year in college, and I was like, this is amazing. No spring ball?
No spring ball. Yeah, so we played always like in a New Year's Eve bowl for football. So after that, I'd take a week off and then go right into baseball. And then our season kicked off like February when we started playing games. So
What position did you play?
outfield, center field. And then so March rolled around, April, we're out there just, batting practice, throwing some balls, doing a couple catching drills, and you hear the music pounding because the football practice facility is right next to our baseball stadium. And so, man, I'm like, thank you, God, I'm not over there.
Did you ever feel like you were losing that competitive battle not being in spring ball? as a young guy, like growing up feeling,
Yeah.
well, man, I'm playing baseball. They're grinding right now. Is that going to hurt me in the depth chart or my playing ability?
I didn't. No, I thought I was pretty confident in where I was at, I guess, in that particular room with the receivers. But I think I just enjoyed. It's such a different challenge, right? I mean, baseball is such a different challenge. It's a different mentality. It's just a different environment, and I was thriving in that because it just was fun, and it wasn't as physical. It wasn't as, it was a mental game for sure. Playing 60-plus games in a year is a lot with baseball, but it just the mental part of like having to recover from injuries all the time and try to like, get through every day for to get to Saturday for the game. So I didn't have the like, oh crap, am I behind or am I trailing someone? I was like, I'm going to be present, I'm going to enjoy this baseball, and then when summer comes around, I'm going to get back on the grind and earn
For
it.
me, it was like a mental release too, like getting away from the grind of the constant where am I on the depth chart, the grind of spring ball, I'm competing constantly, where you go out and you play a game that you love. It was almost like a reset button. So then when you came back to football, it was like, okay, I'm ready to go for this again. Yeah, you're refreshed and mentally you're ready to go.
That's my biggest thing, with my kids too. And my oldest is actually a specialized athlete, but like playing multiple sports is such a nice balance, because not only does it challenge different skill sets and you got to learn leadership or teamwork within different teams in sports, but it's like it is the reset button. It's, you're focusing on football in the fall, then you go to basketball in the wintertime, and then baseball. And it's like, otherwise you get burnt out. And that's the scarcity part of it is like, who can last playing one sport for years unless you're getting paid a bunch of money, which now college athletes are. But that was my struggle, was just like I felt like I would get burnt out coming summertime, like, oh, spring ball's just over, can we just get a break? And it was just back to the workout.
Was there a consideration to keep playing baseball after college versus football?
I had a conversation. I just wasn't as developed, I think, as a hitter, so I was not sure I wanted to take that path. And also I loved football because it was more structured. You played one game a week, you're at home, you travel maybe a couple days, 3 days at the most. Where baseball, you're on the road a lot, and you may not ever make it to the major leagues. You get caught in the minor leagues, you're on a bus, the lifestyle is completely different. And I always knew I wanted the family. Again, I'm a homebody guy. I like consistency. I like structure. So football kind of gave me that. But I did go through the draft process with baseball and talk to teams, and I just felt like, this probably isn't for me, because they wanted me to play summer baseball and get more at-bats and kind of just work that craft, and I wasn't willing to do it.
But you got drafted, right? Twice?
I did, yeah. But I mean, 50 rounds, you're going to,
Hey, you got drafted, dude. Yeah, I offered you a bus ticket and a free meal ticket to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Well, after I asked for like guaranteed money, like football in the second round, they're like, I'm like, okay. But yeah, Twins, Milwaukee, Brewers. So it's pretty cool. I mean, hometown team to draft you.
Are you just a magnet to cold places and elite
seriously.
teams? It's like, let's look across the board. Who'd do best in cold weather? Well, Decker plays everything. So let's just hockey. They're trying to draft you in the NHL.
Look, we can develop that skill set.
What was the pre-draft process like in football for you?
Well, my senior year in football, I had a Liz Frank sprain, so it's like a midfoot tear of the metatarsal. So I had hardware put in. I was out. This is December. I had surgery, so I was out for 8 months. So I was out during combine. I was out during kind of the whole pro day and draft process. I did a bunch of, obviously going to pro day, doing the interviews and doing kind of the mental part of it. But it was nerve-wracking because I'm a white guy from Minnesota playing a skilled position that, there's not a lot of us. So I didn't know what to expect. I visited a lot of teams. There was a lot of interest. But all I had to do was just kind of focus on getting healthy. And that's where, actually, I was in Arizona training. I met Demaryius Thomas. There was a group of us training down there. And he all of a sudden tore his fifth metatarsal during workouts. And so we really bonded through kind of that process of being in the athletic training room and having to do our rehab and PT and just kind of get back on the field in a sense. So I think when I look at it, it was something I needed. I needed a break. I was burnt out from playing football, baseball for the 2 years in college, and I just was like, oh man, I go right into training now. So it kind of gave me a break to kind of configure my brain on like what kind of the goal was next for me.
And it sounded like you studied for the Wonderlic test, because you got like one of the highest test scores ever on the Wonderlic.
Can I say that's so annoying?
That's unbelievable.
But it's like both of you just.
I mean,
leave some for everybody else. Like athlete, good looking guys, like you playing multiple sports. I'm over here like, I do quiz bowl. Like it sucks. never got a girl until later. Like leave some for the rest of us.
I think Bobby's doing just fine.
I think he's doing just fine right now. Let's be honest.
Everyone knows who Bobby Bones is.
You crushed the Wonderlic?
Dude.
I think I got 40 something. I don't know.
Dude, it has it right here. And I was
What
like,
is it?
what? I mean, I've spent a lot of time with you, just never took you for an intellectual. Scored the 7th best Wonderlic test of all time during his pre-draft process with a 43.
Was it? Did you study? I took the ACT. I crushed it.
Yeah.
But I studied how to take the test more so than tried to learn everything that the test might have taught me. Did you prepare for the Wonderlic or just walk in and go, I kind of got this?
They gave us some practice questions and stuff. But
Really? They must have been really good tutors. Holy shit.
But I don't remember spending hours on how to take the Wonderlic. They gave us advice all right, you're going to waste a lot of time reading the full paragraph. Kind of read the first sentence and the last sentence and figure out, what you're trying to solve.
Yeah, pick B.
You guys had different tutors, I think. You said, hey, your best option for you is to pick me.
When I came in, I was late to showing up because they didn't tell me what time I had to be there. Said around 9. Well, they're already taking the test. We had 20 minutes left of the test or whatever. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, you're not really on my list, but go in there and take the test. So I just started grinding. I don't have any idea what I got.
But as what
was your score?
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't know?
They never even told me.
You don't know? You still don't know?
I really don't know.
I bet we could probably find it.
Is it
That
registered?
would be great. Castle gets a 10 out
one of
of
our
47. One of the lowest scores
1993
1993.
draft
You
class.
being a white guy, though, high motor.
High motor, yeah, for sure.
Sneakily
Technician.
athletic.
Technician.
You kind of had to get that.
Gruden's Grinders. I remember I got that award. Yeah.
What did you do? Interviews, like the pre-draft interviews?
I did, yeah.
How did those go?
Everything went great. I mean, the interviews went great, and that's why I think leading up to the draft, I thought I had a lot of opportunity. And
What were they telling you that you might go if you go?
First overall.
First overall, yeah. I think it was kind of in the second round.
Like
frame.
that was like the window, somewhere in the second round.
Yeah, because there was teams that were looking for a skilled position and early, and so not a first round draft pick. But second round, especially being injured, I thought that was kind of high as well. But that was my expectation. So, anyways, it was Denver was on the list. They moved up, got Demarius. Seattle got Golden Tate. Man, I just went down the list. There was 9 or 10 teams that all picked receivers that I thought I was going to. I'm like, so all of a sudden, mid-third round came around. I'm like, I got 150 people at my house. I'm like, expectations were high. I'm like, oh man, I just got out of the house to go walk down the road. I'm like, this may not happen for me. What do I tell my family and friends? Can you guys just please go? Or, can we come back and try this
Get
another
the hell
day?
out of here.
Yeah.
Let me have a moment.
And so there was a lot of nerves. There was obviously the anticipation, the excitement, and then all of a sudden it was the anxiety and the unknown feelings that were kind of setting in middle of the third round. It was day 2 at the time. And finally got a phone call there towards the end of the third round, and
Who was it?
it was Denver.
Who was the person?
It was Josh McDaniels. It was Coach McDaniels. And just I remember where I was in the back porch with a couple friends having a few beers and trying to, cool down a little bit. And it was like a 303 number that popped up. I'm like, hello? And it changed my life.
Was that the Tebow year?
It was.
Tebow first round?
Yeah.
Tebow was first pick in that.
Tebow, yeah.
First pick.
Thomas, both in the first round.
Oh, so
You were there during the Tebow years.
Oh, I was.
yeah.
Because Kyle Orton came in that year.
Yeah.
Right? Kyle Orton was there. He started, but all the chatter around everything was Tim Tebow because he's such a figure. Everybody knew him from Florida and what he did, the national championship, and he went about things a little bit differently and just his personality and who he was. Mm-hmm. But talk to us about that. I mean, that had to be wild.
Oh, it was wild. Yeah. I mean, my first year I played with Kyle, and I still say to this day, Kyle Orton throws the best spiral.
The best ball.
I mean, it's
unbelievable.
Just a perfect spin, so catchable. And Tebow came in towards the end of the year because McDaniels got fired. And so there's just obviously transition going on. But that second year, Kyle starts. But yeah, from the first mistake, Tebow, and it was hard in the locker room because there was some division, between the quarterbacks and. guys didn't want to choose who was their guy. It's just like, let's just go and play football, but you can't really do that. So come week 3, maybe week 4, and I was having a great start of the season. I had like 4 or 5 touchdowns the first 3 games with Kyle. Like we were kind of had a connection. But the San Diego game, we just were struggling the first half. Like, all right, Tim, go in. And so Tim comes in the game second half and marches down for like one of those
crazy. I remember that game.
Just Hail Mary finishes. And that's what the season was, though. We had 8 wins of overtime. Like Prater kicked a 65-yarder and Tebow ran for like 60 yards one time. Marion Barber fumbled it like magically and we scooped it up and scored. Just like all these things. Like was it intervention or no?
Intervention.
Intervention.
Divine intervention. Yeah. You guys are doing 10
That's the
different
word.
things here.
Intervention. Yes, that.
Well, how about
divine,
that year you guys came to Kansas City? So I'm in Kansas City.
That was the year.
We're playing at Arrowhead. They threw 2 passes in the game. Rushed the ball 40-something. It was like 16-10 late in the third. That was the game I broke my hand.
Yep.
And then you guys ended up winning. I think you caught a touchdown pass that game, didn't you?
Of the 2 balls?
I caught, he was 3 for 8, and I caught one of them for like a 50-yard touchdown.
Right.
But we ran the ball 60 times.
It was unbelievable.
So watching that season and seeing all those miraculous things happen, it seemed game after game, but it's happening to you in the locker room. Are you guys even like, what is happening?
And also, did you start going to Bible study?
Yeah. Like, was it weird for
course,
you
yeah.
guys, too, to keep winning weird games like that?
Oh, of course it was. I mean, it was the talk of the town, but then it was chatter in the locker room as well. Like, hey, as long as we got Tim, something's going to happen miraculously in the fourth quarter, and it really did. I mean, week after week after week. And what was crazy is we got towards the end of the season, and the parking lot for the players, you had to walk outside through the tunnel to get down to the locker room, and people would kind of stand around, ask for autographs or take pictures. Well, all of a sudden these churches started coming and they're singing homilies and they're like,
wow.
like praising Tebow in a sense. And so playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers first round. I mean, there was 400 probably people singing homilies, dude. It was wild, but he was so polarizing, and like, I think he really transformed the fan base for what he accomplished on the field, but more so kind of who he is, obviously, and his character. So it was like there's books written about it that season because it was just wild. You never see it again, but it was a fun journey to be a part of.
Was he polarizing, though, in the locker room, or was it just what was happening outside?
I think more so just the outside and kind of what noise, I guess, was being created. I mean, Tim's a great guy. Like, what you see is what you get. He's super energetic. He's super positive. He works really hard. One thing I say about good quarterbacks is like you're able to like hang out off the field. He didn't do that as much. That was one thing where we struggled with was like, well, who's really Tim? We never got that time outside of the locker room. But in the locker room, he was a leader. He was a guy everyone leaned on and followed. So a lot of respect for what he's accomplished in his football career, but more so who he is.
Okay, so then Peyton comes in. Is it the
Not familiar with this guy. Who's this guy?
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
Peyton
Manning.
Oh, Manning.
Got it.
Manning. He comes in what, the year after?
So, 2012 he came in.
2012. Now, what was that transition like? It was everybody just...
Were you so hyped to have somebody that throw you the ball?
Let's go.
Well, I remember, being at my apartment, and our receiver coach at the time, Adam Gase, called me. He was like, hey, Payne's in town. He's coming to the facility. You should pop by. I was
the sheriff.
What? Yeah, yes, okay. And so you kind of had to like find an excuse to get to the facility because, the media was just waiting out there. It was 10s and 20s.
Because everybody's wondering where he was going to go. Was it San Francisco? Was it like there was the few teams they thought he would go to?
Cameras were following him everywhere, right? And so snuck into the facility, got to meet him. I think what really sold him was probably the young talent that we had. No Sean Moreno at the time in the running back room, Demarius, obviously, myself. He brought in Wes Welker and Brandon Stokely for 2 consecutive years. They had, young Julius Thomas, tight end, good offensive line. So I think he felt comfortable with kind of where the team was heading. And, he brought his own system in for the most part. But I really think Demarius is probably a big factor in why he chose Denver. Our defense was really good at the time too, so he knew he didn't have to do too much, though we did. So it was a fun time because, yes, we went to the playoffs and we had this like miraculous year with Tebow, but more so this was like football that I'm used to, having a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're never going to say no.
How much of the offense changed from the point that he got there to when the season started? Was it he implemented everything that he knew of, and was there subtle changes at first, or was it a wholesale change?
Well, Michael Coy was the offensive coordinator, so we originally kind of had a similar style offense, and then when Tebow came in, we started going to like, wing T, I felt like.
Navy. Okay, you're watching old films in Navy or the
triple option?
OU triple option.
There was some option, for sure. We ran some option. So it changed a little bit. So when we went back to, I guess, the original offense, I think more of the verbiage probably changed. A lot of the formation stayed the same. I think some of the line calls stayed the same. But yeah, he kind of put his touch on everything. So it was a lot of work, from the point that he signed and the offseason started of implementing the offense to getting on the field and walking through it. I mean, it changed dramatically to training camp. And we started playing fast, being in Denver, having kind of that advantage with the altitude. We had a value menu, so it was like 1 through 10. And we went to the line and we just played super fast and we went quick and everyone knew what their routes were. Receivers, tight ends stayed on one side, so we just kind of flipped it so we could just go. And man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You scored a lot of fantasy points for players in Denver. Like, it just seemed like you were getting the ball a lot. Is that when you felt like the most fluid, like we were thriving the most? Was that a few years with Peyton in Denver?
Yeah. I mean, of course. I was younger. I was healthy. And then, it was just not easy, but it felt easy in a way because we would just play so fast and he spread it out. I mean, we have still, I think, all the offensive records from that 2013 season. But you got to think, Demaryius Thomas had 10-plus touchdowns. I had 10-plus touchdowns. Wes Welker had 10-plus touchdowns. Julius Thomas had 10-plus touchdowns. Noshawn Moreno had 10-plus. So the ball was spread out. But we just played so fast. I mean, we had like 75, I think, offensive plays on average, which is pretty high. It got to 80s and 90s sometimes in certain games. But, like, Peyton just knew, what the defenses were doing at that time and could put us in the right position. And so all you had to do was just get to your spot. And, man, we practiced so much as well during the week with certain nuances. Thank you. I'm like, God, I'm struggling.
You're doing great.
Yeah, doing great.
Nuances, who cares?
Wonderlic.
At least it wasn't a spelling test.
Yeah, can't talk, but I can use this. But like the RedZone stuff, like we practiced the RedZone third down so much where we were just automatic.
Welker told a great story about when you and he pranked.
Oh yeah.
Peyton, go through that story because it's a good one.
It was phenomenal, yeah. So there was a cover, Sports Illustrated cover in training camp. We were shooting it, and so it was Peyton, myself, Demaryius, and Wes Welker. And so the idea was just to get, I guess, us in our uniforms, but we wanted to kind of spice it up a little bit. So we told our media guy at the time to kind of put some cameras in. We're like, hey, listen, we're going to come in and say we want to do the Bo Jackson style picture, shoulder pads, no jersey. Let's show some skin off. Let's make this risky. And so we get him on board, and he goes, all right, Peyton, here's kind of what they want. And he shows an example of it. And Peyton goes, come here. No fucking way are we doing this. What is this? Is this a Playgirl or something? Like, he brought him to the side and just started, and we got a video of all of it, and he catch the vocals a little bit. But so we sat there for about 10 minutes just trying to sell it. We're like, let's just get one picture. He's like, I'm not taking this damn jersey off. So we got a picture of us with our shirts out, like being all silly and stuff, and he's there like pissed off. But then, Wes is just like the biggest goofball. So he was the one that led the charge. And we felt like, man, we're just like these rookies in a sense to Peyton. So like Wes was a developed, a veteran at the point, just like he can do whatever he wants. And so we're just going to follow his lead. And man, he led us down a fun path there with that prank.
Could you hang with Peyton outside of the locker room? You talk about Tebow was difficult because that really wasn't his thing. Was Peyton a little more like that?
He was just the man's man. So on the field, I mean, he was a sheriff. He was, everything had to be perfect. But off the field, he was a lot of fun. He did a good job of getting guys to go to dinner, spending time outside of the facility. And that's what I appreciate about him is, Peyton's just a good old boy in a sense. And so I learned a lot on the field with him, but also enjoyed and learned a lot with him off the field.
So you go from Denver, you got Peyton Manning, things are rolling, and then you become a free agent and you decide to go to the Jets. What went into that decision? Were there other opportunities? And what was that transition like, going from where you were with everything kind of going in the right direction, but then you go to the Jets? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that was tough. I love Denver. That was kind of where my heart was. And again, homebody, I felt like I kind of started my community, and I had my first child, and that's where I wanted to be. And I was willing to take, a haircut on my contract and just to stay in Denver because, again, I love the community, but it didn't work out with the team and John Elway. And so as I was shopping around, that draft class was really good. So I don't think teams were jumping at receivers. I talked to Cleveland for a little bit. I thought actually I was going to Jacksonville.
Warm weather.
Could have done it. But, New York.
He was just repulsed by it. He's like, I can't go somewhere where it's over 70.
Got to stay in the north.
Need something.
Stay in the north. And New York probably had the most interest at the time. And so I went there. I was in this headspace, just had a new baby, didn't know what to expect. Loved the idea of New York. I thought Geno was actually a player too, at that time. And what I learned was, as he matured, he became a player, but he wasn't there yet. So it was a crazy transition because when you show up, expectations are so high. And John Izek was the GM at the time, and he's like, "Listen, we got $80 million cap. We're gonna go out and spend it." And I'm like, "Awesome! I'm on board for that. Like, I'll sign and be a part of this team." And so they ended up signing really no one else. And I'm, to be honest, not a number one receiver. I'm not a Demaryius Thomas or Julio Jones or any of those guys at the time. So I'm like, well, I need my Batman, I need my guy that I'm going to play with, and they didn't bring anyone in. They're really no skill guys they brought in. So it was a tough transition, but it was, a growing experience for me just to be part of a new team with some veteran guys on the line and defense that have been there for 10 years. But I love Denver. I would have stayed there my whole career, but it's part of the game.
Did you feel like the media in New York? Did you feel immediately that it was different?
Tremendously different, yeah. I mean, we had Tebow and the Polarizing experience that year. Peyton comes into town again, media frenzy. But it's a different type of media than it is in New York. And obviously, Page Six or the press that New York can garnish was different for sure. And at that point, I had a reality show for a couple of years. And so that was another pop culture they're going to pull from and try to ruffle the feathers a little bit.
You started that when you were in New York?
So no, that was in Denver.
You started a reality television show in Denver.
You know he had a show with Jesse?
Yes, I remember that. I didn't know it was that early.
It was my last year in Denver, yeah.
Wow.
Leading up to our wedding. Well, I leading up to our wedding and to having Vivi. What's so crazy about reality TV is, so the Super Bowl year, we were filming, but we stopped filming like January, February, playoffs and Super Bowl. And we had to go back and film like me and Demaryius went and acting like we're going to the Super Bowl, though we just got our asses kicked. We had to film like
we're
gonna get this done.
Oh man, so it's just like,
how did you do that?
I mean, it's just a job. You show up and you go, let's do it.
So there's some acting involved
in that type of reality for sure.
Yeah.
There is, yes.
And even if even if it's real, just from my experience doing a few things, it's set up in a way of, even if you're not acting, they're putting you in a place that they want you to be.
Right.
So they're getting a result that they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's very structured. We actually just fired the first production team because they were like, hey, let's try to like create some fights here. And we're like, no, that's not the storyline we want to tell. But leading up to a wedding, you're going to get your, food tasting, your venue spot, flowers. You can do all the things that lead up to a wedding. Well, that's where they put us in the spot. And everything within that is organic. And
do they pay for that?
They pay for all of it, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But it's definitely like a job. You show up and you kind of got a sheet like, all right, we're going to hit, 1, 2, 3, 4 things today. And ready.
You got to finish it in time so you can get to the next thing.
Yeah.
So they can set up. You should get your show. It's fun.
Hell
no, you don't want to show. You don't want to show.
They're going to just show me in the spur van picking up kids. Get in, guys. Who do you want the conflict with today? Don't worry. They'll get in a conflict by themselves.
Versus each other with your 42 kids.
Yeah.
Like my oldest son's got my other son a headlock. Oh, stop it.
I would feel if I were in New York or if I were anywhere and I was led to believe that I was coming in and they were going to put weapons around me and they did not put weapons around me, I would feel there would be resentment building in me from the beginning. Even if I didn't want it to be, if they were like, Or if I were like, they were like, hey, we're going to build you a podcast studio and we're going to invest all this money in you. And they gave me one microphone. I'd be like, no, you promised me all this technology. I feel like I would be resentful of that. Did you feel that a bit in New York?
Well, I would say, it was disappointing. Like Rex Ryan, again, was the reason why I went there. Rex is an awesome guy, and I think he's a player's coach. And he kind of was handcuffed that year. I mean, so he got fired, and I think that was like, did I make the right choice kind of conversation. And I'm a loyalist, so I'm sticking to the decision I made. But definitely with disappointment, not necessarily resentment, but disappointment, thinking like, hey, well, you say one thing, do what you say. That's just one person kind of leading the charge as GM. Everyone else doesn't really have much say in that. So year two, we had regime change. Todd Bowles come in. I love Todd. And, we started to build the team up. We had a great defense at the time. So we always were in games, just that we needed some skill players. And started spending a little bit more on skill guys. Brandon Marshall came in. And we made kind of the changes that were supposed to happen the year prior.
Was Brandon Marshall one of the more intimidating human beings you've ever met in your life?
Oh, man.
Because I see him, and he is a man.
He is.
One, but two, he's got the personality like, I don't want to take this guy off.
He's a beautiful person because initially I was intimidated and scared of him because, what you read from prior, just, kind of his stature. He's a big guy and he can carry himself in a kind of like, whoa, polarizing way. But man, he's super deep. Like he is like, he knows who he is. He's done a lot of work on himself. He's very smart. And we had so many good conversations in the receiver room. So we bonded and had a really good relationship. But initially, I was definitely scared of him. And he plays that way on the field. I mean, he has a screw loose, I'm sure. But he goes crazy, and it's fun to be on his side and not on the other side. Yeah.
How'd you end up in Nashville, Tennessee? Titans.
Yeah. So and with the Titans. Well, New York. Let's see. My third year. Going in my fourth year, I was there all the way through minicamp. And so I had season-ending injuries with my hip and my shoulder I had surgery on. And so I recover. I get to end of kind of off-season workouts, minicamp, and all of a sudden Woody Johnson decides he wants to cut everyone over the age of 30. So it's like June 14th, 15th, somewhere in that range. And we all get canned. And like, oh, great, that's awesome. So talk to my agent, like, what are the options? Where can I go? And Tennessee was home at the time. We've been in Tennessee since 2011. So this is 2017. I'm like, it'd be great to play close to home. Well, John Robinson was with the Patriots, who, at the time originally was looking to draft me in 2010. And we just kind of hit it off. It worked out. They needed the extra receiver. And so I talked to a few different teams, but that was kind of who I was focusing on because I wanted to be close to home.
That feel good to be able to play here at home?
It was. No, it was awesome. And I was actually feeling the best I felt for a long time, probably since the Super Bowl year, physically. And then, just the excitement of being home, sleeping in my own bed, in my own house, and being able to, go to work and kind of have that balance. And then, a lot of familiar faces in the locker room were really helpful in that transition, especially late because I jumped right into training camp. And then, unfortunately, again, got hurt in training camp. It was like the story of my life towards the end of my career. So it was like a very volatile year for me. I mean, it was tough. Probably the worst year I ever had in terms of like performance and stuff. But just it was great to be, again, around a lot of guys that I'm friends with for life now because we have kids the same age and our kids go to school together. And so I got to share life in the locker room with these fellas.
It's crazy about that season. Like you said, you get hurt going to training camp. And a lot of people don't understand how tough that is for especially skill players and wide receiver in particular, just from conditioning and all that. But I'll remember the first game. I think it was the first game. And so we used to do this thing where if it was even numbers, whether it was protection, say it was 64, it was 74, whatever it might be, or if it's a run, say it's the 30s, 38, 36, that's all on 2. If it's an odd number, it's on 1. So we get up there, and it's early in the game, and we call an even number run, which means it's on 2. But if you haven't done it, like you should have seen during the offseason, guys are jumping off all the time. Well, Deck's out there looking at the ball, and it's, lady, it's hot, right? It's on 2. He jumps on 1. He comes over to the sideline, And it's the funniest thing. He looks at me, he goes, Cass, when do you know it's on 2 and when do you know it's on 1? Because we would not call cadence in the huddle.
Yeah.
It was now assumed that because of the process of going through it and the repetitions that we had during the off season,
Which you weren't.
That he wasn't part of to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
But not
I should have
like
known probably.
So he goes, how do you know it's on 2 and 1? I said, Dad, what the fuck, dude? We've been doing this. He's like, dude, I missed a lot of training camp. I was like, even numbers on 2, odd numbers on 1. He's like, oh, I got it. Thanks.
Was it a hard decision to go, I'm done?
At the time, no. I think after I processed it and walked away 6 months later, probably yes, because I think I still had more in the tank, but I think I was so emotionally and mentally checked out from all the injuries in the last 3 years of my career that I didn't want to do it, you know. And I went to New England the year they won the Super Bowl, and it was like, that was actually like the frosting on the cake. Belichick camp at the age of 33. I was like, I don't think I have it. You know, I'm banging heads with these 22-year-olds. I'm like, I'm used to like the vet card, like, stand on the sideline, get ready for the season. And it was a reality of, I don't think I was all in, you know, mentally and physically. And I was kind of already halfway checked out. I had my 3rd child at the time back in Nashville and just was missing my family. And yeah, I mean, it was again, easy at the time when I decided to retire, but then it was super hard at 6 months after. It was like, did I really give it everything I had?
But do you have any regrets looking back?
I don't now. No, I mean, I think I've worked through all that. I think I struggled with, you know, losing the game, in a sense, losing my identity and what my value in a sense was. But now, as I guess, you know, 5 years or longer than that, 7 years out, and just more of a mature person, it was the right time. You know, I made the right decision, and I'm happy with my decision. I don't regret anything.
What's it like being a sex symbol?
Yeah, because it seems like you guys get it on all the time, too. There's just kids popping out. Like, every time I load up, there's like a new baby, a new baby, a new baby. Yeah.
Just a piece of meat. Well, I'm with Castle, so I got to try to keep up. You know, he's got that Sprinter van full of kids. I got to, that's the goal. I guess, you know, really my wife is my sugar mama, and she's the social queen, so I'm just a piece of meat, Bobby. That's all I am.
I wish I could be a piece of meat once in my life.
Hey, being a piece of meat's not that bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, Quiz Bowl, you know, had to do my whole life there. So I know you guys did the show, the
Special Forces.
Yeah, Special Forces. Yeah. And Randall, it reminds me because Randall was over here.
Yeah.
So that looked like a tough show.
It was hard.
How hard was it for real? Because we've both done reality stuff.
Yes.
And we know some of it's weirder, harder, easier than what you actually see. What was that show really like?
That was a real show with reality, I guess, in a sense, tied to it. I mean, everything they put us through was like real training, you know, of what they would do. Now, there was like hiccups sometimes with production, or, hey, it's a 12-hour break. You know, we need our camera guys to take a lunch break. Or
Union, they got to take
it. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Took a 12-hour break.
So we're sitting there on a cliff for like 3 hours in 100-degree weather because they got to take a lunch break. Cool. I want some water up here. No, but it was intense. I mean, the drill sergeants, now that, you know, we got to know them after the show, they're really good people, and what they've accomplished in their life is amazing. You know, I got so much respect for the military men and women in our country, and there's a couple of UK guys too, of how they represented, what sacrifices they made, because we got just a little taste of it, and it was real. I'm telling you, this last show on Thursday with the tunnels, I mean, that was like something I've never done, would never want to do again. I mean, I've got PTSD if I ever get into like an MRI tube now, just because tight quarters and getting stuck. I mean, you saw Johnny, he tapped out. I think he just panicked. But the next couple episodes, you'll see just, I think it's the mental part of it. I mean, physically, yes, we can endure these exercises, but it's like from 5 a.m. and not knowing what you're doing all the way till midnight, basically, till they turn the lights off, because they could pull you out at 11:30 and put you through this beasting, which is a night workout. And so it's like that cortisol rush is just always going, and so you're just mentally and emotionally kind of fatigued. And so that was the hardest thing to balance, was just like, all right, we're here. Let's get to lunch. And I know probably Randall said that because he always said it on the show. Let's get to lunch. Let's get to dinner. Let's get to the next thing because that's all you could really control. That's all you really know is that they got to feed you. So just show up and get to that day.
Why'd you do the show? Who did they come to both of you? They go to Jesse? They go to you? What happened?
So actually, the first year they did it, they asked if I wanted to do it, and she was on tour, so I couldn't. And so Danny Amendola got casted, and he did awesome. And I've always wanted to do it again, and I just kind of was like a has-been, so I couldn't get on it. But they started doing the couple dynamic, and so Andrew and Sean got asked, and then Housewives and Gia got asked to do it, and they needed another couple. So originally it was like 10 days out from the show. I think we were kind of a filler. And we're like, no, we can't do it. We had a trip to Italy planned, and it was like to move all those things was a lot. And so we said no. They went to a different couple. They said no. Came back to us like a week out. And we're like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Let's just do it. Because I always wanted to challenge myself in a different way. I just felt like not having football, obviously very fortunate and grateful for my life, but just I needed something to have that kind of locker room feel. And so this was that opportunity to challenge myself. And luckily I got Jess on board to do it, who, man, I saw so much grit that I've never seen before. It was really fun. So that was the reason why.
I did Bear Grylls with my wife. I did it myself. I did it by myself, and Bear and I went to Norway, and it was a really good episode, so much that Nat Geo offered me my own show from that episode. But before that show launched, they were like, hey, we want you to come back and do Bear Grylls again. And I was like, man, I did it. I don't like dying and stuff. Like, it wasn't my thing. And I said, I've already told my whole story. Like, there's nothing for me to do. And they said, well, bring your fiance at the time. For my fiance, there was no chance I was getting her on the show. Like, no chance. She does not like to do things in the public. No interest. She doesn't even like to be on social media, much less is she going to go on a Disney Plus, Nat Geo show. And so we were getting on the plane from another event, and I was like, hey. And I didn't want to ask. You know how you just don't even want to ask? Like, you have to ask. And I was like, and she had just been in therapy the day before, and her therapist had told her, you're experiencing all the negative things that comes from being with him. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just take advantage of one positive thing? I happened to catch it on that day.
Oh, boom.
And she said, I'll do it. And so we did it. And when you say that about your wife, when we do this episode, I saw like determination, grit, all these things in a way that I'd never seen it before, that I was kind of blown away by, because we're on top of like 300-foot rocks having to rappel off. Yeah. And she's just killing it. Yeah. And she's scared, but the greatest part was you're supposed to be scared, but she did it anyway. So I was able to see sides of her doing that. And I obviously knew her very well, but I would have never seen that side of her had we not done that. Did you feel that way with your wife?
100%. Yeah. No, I mean, we were together. We've been together, for almost, 15 years. And she's birthed 4 of my children, and I know she's tough, and, she's a go-getter. But to be in that environment, like you said, and see the grit and the determination, and the barracks that we slept in were just disgusting, and having to wash her clothes in the sink and just eat, crappy food. But her attitude to not only accomplish things, but dominate things was like, damn, who is this? And it was, it definitely, I think, bonded us and made us closer because we saw each other in ways we never have. This was kind of an inside look for her to see me in a locker room setting with other there's other athletes, but just other males. And, there was a perspective to it, which was special to have that experience together.
Is it more intimidating knowing that you're going on a show which is an elimination show and a tap out show with your wife, saying I've got to outperform her?
Yeah.
Because God forbid I'm one of the first people to tap out and she's the last woman standing there.
Well, yeah, I mean, she kind of set the expectations. Listen, I'm here for you. I'm not, I think she didn't know what to expect from herself, and the idea was I'm going to go all the way. And so, that was the expectations. But yeah, knowing that your wife is there, it's hey, well, you got to show up and you got to win.
Competitive edge there, right?
I'm the man. I gotta be the man.
You play pickleball now a lot?
Oh, I love pickleball.
Oh my gosh.
I know
he's obsessed.
Well, we were walking through whenever you didn't tell him where to come, right? Yeah. We were up in the front of the property.
Yeah, when you just.
Yeah, and
dogs are barking. I'm waving.
He was like, "Oh, did you build a pickleball court, or was it?" I was like, "Yeah, we built it." And he was like, "Oh," he just kind of gave it a second look and kept walking. And right before we were about to go on, he was going to say something, but I was like, "Hold it," because I don't know what you were going to say about pickleball. Yeah. I really like to play too. I got to have surgery on my ankle in a couple weeks, so
do you?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I tore I gotta. It's a whole thing. My ankle's been hurting, but it's been getting worse. Who knew if an injury hurt, you shouldn't keep going? Who knew?
Let me see.
That's your body.
You'll fix it?
It's your body trying to tell you, hey, stop.
So this cartilage tear has gotten larger and larger, and so now they have to go in. They have to put other cartilage. They have to put dead man cartilage in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a serious.
The old dead man. So yeah. So I haven't been able to play a lot, but I was playing
Talking about grit. That's
grit.
Hey, I played in a 4.0
determination.
tournament singles with a torn
Dude, you're
ankle.
wild.
And didn't you win it?
I won a 3.5.
Oh.
I didn't win the 4
I don't
because
know
I got
what
hurt.
this means, but-
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so what's that? So
Ubers.
how often are you playing? Like, what do you, is that your competition now?
I actually just threw my back out, so I'm getting back into it now.
I feel like
We'd
you
be the
tell- I
perfect
feel like
match
You tell me
then.
that every other week.
I
Yeah,
know.
I just hurt my back. You should see him at the little league games and stuff. He's literally sitting up there like this, and he's stretching his back. I'm like, dude, we got wives around here. Like, stop making us look bad. I'm like, you're either trying to
hips are
show
tight.
your grundle off to all the women, but like, will you stop stretching in these like elaborate yoga stretches?
He's loosening up for another kid.
I mean, jeez.
Just keep
He's
the
like,
excitement
my
there.
back. My back hurts.
Savannah Bananas brought to the youth sport. It's my vice right now for sure. Besides when my back doesn't hurt, which actually like 2.5 weeks ago I was playing at 5 a.m. I've been real serious about it with the PE coaches here at our kids' school and Mark Mariani.
Mark's competitive too.
Mark's competitive.
I've played with him before.
Yeah.
He played with the Titans?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I've played with him before. Yeah.
Yeah, so warming up for pickleball, threw it out. But other than that, I'm playing a PPA tournament in November, so I'm excited about that. But
You play singles or doubles?
I'm gonna do doubles. Yeah,
You ever play singles?
I do play singles.
I like singles because it's actually a workout.
It is a workout. I mean, doubles though. I'll play an hour and a half and I'll burn like 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories.
Maybe for you, but for an athlete like me, it ain't work. You know what I mean? For an athlete like me, I'm just sitting back, hitting it like this. Then how far do you
That's
live
why
from
your
here?
ankle's hanging on.
My ankle's killing me. How far do you live from this house?
Half a mile. Well, so
Oh, you're close?
I'm real close to you.
I didn't know that. Most of you rich people live in like Franklin, so I figured you were down there with like rich boy over here.
No, you
I'm
guys
just
are
down
going
the
to
street.
be. You guys are going to be fast friends on the pickleball
Yeah.
court.
Once we get that ankle right, we're gonna. Yeah. Well, there's some opportunity we got to talk about.
You got a back, I got an ankle. We're even, so we can play injured. We have one injury.
Just rush the net.
You just need a leaf blower back there. That's what I saw.
I got one right there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
dude,
You
I'm
just
ready to
ordered
go.
that.
I got a whole ground
Ordered
screw
that
ready
after
to
the
go.
All right, well, Bobby, I need to talk to you and Matt. I told him about it already, but there's this concept coming to town. It's a pickleball entertainment concept called Crushard. Everyone's doing the facilities now, but this one is.
Are you pitching him a business
I like it.
idea
I wanna
on the
listen.
podcast?
I want
For
to.
Shark
anybody
Tank.
out there that's interested.
This is gonna be off camera,
just
but he's
for us
like,
to-
save it, save it. So
Shark Tank.
Might as well.
Let's
Shark
go.
Tank.
So listen,
Shark Tank.
I'll bring the deck, but it's Top Golf-esque with pickleball. So you got the food and bev concept up front. You got golf simulators for those that want to golf, but also the multi-sport game for the kids. Keep them entertained while you can play pickleball in the back. 8 courts. Franchise concept coming in. Taking these big boxes and just kind of retrofitting this concept, which from a cost savings is great. But I love it. We
Are you
love.
already in?
I'm in it. Yeah.
What are you looking for from an investment?
I'm looking for you.
standpoint?
Are you going to invest or not?
What's the minimum investment you're looking for?
iHeart's involved. We need to buy a bonus. Maybe shoot a couple shows in there. Matthew already told about the concept, and I couldn't get him on board. But actually, I can get him on board now.
Matthew?
Pressures. Oh, Matt.
Maddie.
Oh. He's got so many names. Castle, Cass, Matt, Big Dong.
Cast off.
Big dog.
Hey, I like that one. I haven't heard that in a
We
while.
did this. Yes, we did this video. They were like, "Hey, we're going to come in and shoot Castle for like a Titans promo, like a commercial thing." And I love Matt. Like seriously, like the greatest guy. Hugs a little too much, but other than that, like the greatest guy.
He's not a.
He's a little too touchy feely for me.
boundaries?
You're invading my personal space.
Did he ever give you a scruff rub?
Yeah. I'm not tall enough. That's why I would. He scruffs the top of my head. And so they were like, hey, and so I'm just talking about Matt, just genuinely. And I'm like, I love him. Here's why. And I lead with things like, he obviously knows the game. Like, you don't play that long in the league without knowing the game at a certain level. And while we're doing the show, and then I watched the clip back, and the only things they used from me saying was like, yeah, he looks like a Greek god and he's always on time. That's
exactly right.
I'm like, they didn't use anything about football. Like, that was the whole thing. And so,
Beauty of editing.
yes, not my editing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that promo?
I thought it was very uplifting from what you said.
right.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, they definitely did not use any of the part about football.
None. It was all
of it.
football.
Do you have Greek in you though? Have you,
No. Well, I mean,
the God part of them.
No, I've got my wife that's Greek, and she
That's
rubs
good.
off on me a little bit. We celebrate Greek Easter.
You got a
and
good
things
tan
like
going
that.
on.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot now? Are you able to stay involved, or at least watch games and like
Games?
as a fan?
Yeah. Yeah. So my 10-year-old boy loves football, and so he kind of has me in it. I mean, he knows every player's name, which is unbelievable. But it's been fun to kind of watch the game through his eyes because it's innocent again. You know, it's just like the love of the game that sometimes wears off as you get older. So we got football on all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and you know, we watch. You know, there's no team we really root for, but
And you don't root for the Titans?
I don't think that's possible.
It's hard right now.
Do they play? Do they have points?
They haven't
Do
scored
they
a lot
have
of them.
points?
they have the fewest points in the
Are
league.
they-
Fewest points in the league.
It's been tough.
It's been tough.
How was this weekend for you, USC Notre Dame?
It's heartbreaking. No, it was an incredible environment. Obviously, it's a rivalry that is a historical rivalry. And, you know, when I was there, you kind of got a feel for it every single time you played Notre Dame. Pete Carroll did a tremendous job of teaching you about the history of the game and have guys like Marcus Allen and this guy Marv Gu, who was a legendary defensive coach. All these different players would come in and speak to us during that week. So it was a big deal. And then to get back there and USC being 5-1, thinking they've got a chance, go down, have a few good series, and then Notre Dame just beat us up physically up front and ran through our face. And it was still close we took the lead in the third quarter, and then we give up the kickoff return, and at that point, it was all over.
I was going to ask, do you feel, because obviously you're more involved in the game, that NIL has changed like the university passion or the, you know, like campus passion?
You know, it's very interesting because we were talking to some of even the Notre Dame players, and particularly CJ Carr, their quarterback, and one of the legendary plays in the series was the tush push, or whatever you want to call it, right? In that 2005 game when both of those teams were undefeated, Brady Quinn, Matt Leinart going back and forth, he had no idea what we were referencing. Yeah. And I was like, wow. Like, you'd think that there was maybe, but he was a young kid, so I'm not putting it past him. I mean, I'm not saying that he's being disrespectful by any means, but I think some of the NIL space now, you come there for a paycheck, and you're going there without the same pride that you used to go to a university because you're picking it because that's your destination for 4 to 5 years, knowing that you're probably never going to leave that place. And so there's a pride that comes along with that. Now I feel like some of these players, and I'm not speaking about Notre Dame, USC, or whatever, but some of it is more transactional than it is about the university itself.
I was with, I won't say who it is, but I was with a Power 4 head coach this weekend, one of my friends. Doesn't live here, but
who is it?
I can tell you off because
what's their mascot?
I think for the fans, obviously it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Like we still,
For sure.
we understand they're more mercenary type than they used to be. They may be there for a year, hopefully longer. But I was with this coach, and it's just, even for them, it's just always asking for money. Like that's so much a part of the job now that they're still coaching, but a lot of their 24 hours in a day, there are so many hours that have to be dedicated to just glad handing, asking for money that even 4 to 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. So it's changed for everybody across the board. And they try to hire general managers to take a little bit of that load off. But if you're a donor, and I'm a donor, like I'm a
big donor.
Fair donor at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Big donor, big better.
If medium donor, sometimes too big a better, but loser. If you're a donor and the general manager is calling, going, hey, I want to spend time with you, but you have a substantial amount of money, you don't want to talk to the general manager.
Yeah.
You want to talk to the coach because that's who you're giving the money to. Yeah. So the NIL thing has been weird, not just for players. And I think everybody should get paid, by the way. I'm a pay people
100%,
guy, yes. But it's almost like where baseball is, and now they may end up a labor strike, not next year, but the year after, because the owners want a salary cap. The players are like, no way we're having a salary cap. Right. If they don't have some sort of structure on, it's weird to call it a cap, but if these third string offensive tackles are going into the portal now, and just because the market on them, they're getting paid $700,000 and they're not even really playing, but that's the market to get a player. And how are they getting the money? It's not all revenue sharing because revenue sharing just equaled it out. So all the teams were like, wait till revenue sharing, then we'll have money. But if everybody's revenue share is exactly the same, well, you still have to get more money than your other person. Yeah. So that's the coach. spending hours of every day on the phone. It's a weird environment now, college is.
I couldn't imagine being a coach because, like you said, you're recruiting your own guys constantly. And, it just, as an athlete and kind of, I fear the character building of these young guys is like, yes, you should get paid. I mean, it's a lot of work and you sacrifice your body and they make a lot of money off you. But at the same point, to just be able to transfer and go play somewhere else because you lost your job or it's getting too hard or you don't, it's like, okay, well, build some resilience. Like fight.
Yeah, life's not like that.
Fight back.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's give it a shot. Because that's where I think I fear with kids coming up and my kids coming up is that what is that college environment look like if they're going to be athletes? I want them to be tough. I want them to be respectful. I want them to be passionate about where you go, who you play for, and the name on your back. But at the same point, don't just like go the easy route and just leave because, it's too tough or he's not fair, he's picking someone else. Okay, well, everyone has a chance to earn a spot.
What it's going to take is actual legislation because right now you need it to get as bad as it possibly can because nobody's stepping in to fix it until it has to be fixed. There was the O'Bannon case, went to the Supreme Court, video game. Charles O'Bannon played at UCLA. His likeness was used, so they sued. Now players can get paid, right? That's the genesis of players getting paid now.
Right.
And so if the NCAA is sued, they basically lose every lawsuit now.
Right.
They just line it up.
It's labor laws, right?
Yep, they're going to lose. So there's going to have
Especially
to be
in California.
Yeah. There's going to have to be. It's going to have to get so bad that it's going to have to go to lawmakers, and lawmakers only want to do things that make them look like heroes for the constituents. The days of lawmakers actually wanting to make a difference, not really so much. It's just get reelected. So that's going to happen to where they want to actually make a difference and be seen. A union's going to have to be had.
Yeah. That's the most difficult part about this.
Yep.
Like, who's going to organize a players' union when it's such a small, finite period of time for each of these players? And unlike the NFL where you got 32 teams, you've got 132 teams. Then you have to have buy-in by the players to say, in order to make a players' union, each of you have to give a certain amount of money into the pot each year that you're in school. But then that rolls over every 4 years. What does the leadership look like? Who's going to be the head of a players' union for college? Which means you're going to have to go out and get a high-paying lawyer and be able to unionize and also organize enough to where the leadership at the top doesn't change so quickly that you can actually do something and make a difference in what's going on.
I mean, I think in the end, the reality of it is you can transfer once. You transfer again, it's a year. It's old school. Because back in the day, if you transferred, unless you went down,
Sit a year.
Yeah, you got to sit a year. And I think there's going to have to eventually be some sort of cap because you're going to, and it's happening now where your players are making more than NFL players are their first couple of years.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
Especially with endorsements and stuff too.
But it has to get crazier before it gets fixed. And that's a weird thing to say because nobody's going to be motivated to fix anything that isn't wildly broken because there are 700 other things they've got to do. But yeah, it sucks. And it's awesome. As players and as I just talk about this with the coach is why it's so fresh in my mind. It's also why I'm not going to be a D1 coach, in case you guys are wondering.
Definitely. Definitely.
I'm right there behind you.
I don't want to be one either.
Who's the best team in the NFL this year?
Great question. Detroit looked good yesterday.
And against a good Tampa team, but
Yeah.
Tampa's missing so many weapons, and they get one of their biggest ones back, and he goes out with a shoulder and a concussion.
Broke his clavicle.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
is that I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Mike Evans broke his clavicle.
Broke his clavicle.
So he came back for like a cup of coffee, and he's out again.
Yeah, one post route, basically.
Man,
And he's been like the Iron Man too of football.
Chris Godwin's out. I mean, and Emeka Buka came back. He had 0 catches. I mean, so they're very, very thin at the wide receiver position.
Hey,
Hey.
how you feeling? You said
What do you think?
your back's a little sore.
No,
Other
he
than
didn't say that. To any GM out there, he didn't say that. He's totally fine.
We can edit that out,
We
right?
bleeped that out.
Yeah,
One
perfect.
Toradol shot, he'll be back out there.
We got about 5 plays, yeah. You know what's crazy about just sports, but football especially is, you say, who's the best team? Well, whoever's healthy, to be honest. I mean, especially at that level. You got guys, 2 skilled guys, Godwin and Evans out. I mean, that changed the dynamic of what Mayfield can do and what that offense can do. And so I just think it's ever changing, in the league, and it's whoever's kind of the healthiest at the end. Look at like Buffalo's kind of behind a little bit. We thought bigger things. Same thing with Kansas City, but they
Chiefs are coming back, though. They're roaring back
If they stay healthy towards the end of the year, those are teams that have like the experience. They're going to be successful and be in the big game. So it's hard not to go against teams like that.
Let me ask you about the mindset of somebody like a Travis Kelce who is in his 30s, mid-30s. Obviously, he's slow to half step. That's why he's not in as much. And you can see him being frustrated when he comes out at times too. As you get older, is it a realization of this is why I'm leaving, or is it, no, I can still do it? Why am I getting taken out of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an ego thing. We all got egos, and I mean, I was in my lower 30s, but like as I was going through the process after I got cut from New York, I was talking to a couple teams and like, oh, we'll use you in like a third down package, or we'll use you in a red zone package. It's like, I can still play. Like I'm an every down player. I want to play, but like you got to check yourself and check your ego and be like, hey, well, it's obviously feedback for a reason. Like you're losing a step, or you're slowing down, or your game's not the same. So I think it's challenging because mentally you feel like you're still that guy, but physically, your performance isn't.
Yeah, and also Travis Kelce has been a featured guy throughout his entire career. He's ultra competitive. Even going back to last year, he's a featured guy. So if the minute you start to buy into everybody saying, oh, well, he's lost this step, he's not that, well, you lose your superpower, because that confidence is why he is who he is. And while he might have lost a step, he's still better than 95% of the guys out there. And when he gets taken out of the game, that's just his personality. That's what's made him so good, is because of that drive, because of that tenacious attitude that he's like, dude, I can still get this done. I'll beat this guy all day long. So that's where that comes from. And I think that's why he's been so good and so elite for so long.
Pick a quarterback in the league now you'd like to play with.
I'm not in the league anymore.
Yeah, Castle's off the list in case you wanted to go.
That was the alley-oop. Yeah, he cut me off.
Who now do you see and you're like, man, I'd love to play with that guy for whatever reason?
I love Dart. I think I'd love to play with Dart. I just love that swagger. I love a quarterback with a little swagger. He can throw it too, but he's a competitor.
You want to play with a rookie quarterback right now?
Who just is reckless with his body?
A veteran dude that's going to like see the game a little different. He runs more than he throws. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right. But you know what? I'm looking at it from just like, who's going to give me that energy? I get excited to watch him. For whatever reason, I don't turn on the Kansas City games like I used to. Like, I'm excited to see the Giants play. But I think it's because he's polarizing. I mean, he's got this energy, this just aura about him that like the dude's going to put his body out there, but he's going to compete. And like, that's all you want as a locker room buddy, is someone that's going to compete.
Pick a wide receiver you'd like to play with now that you watch.
Wide receiver, I mean, Justin Jefferson's pretty good. Jamar Chase is pretty good. Seattle Seahawks last night. What's his name?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh, dude.
State boy.
He might be emerging as one of the top, if not the top wide receiver. Now, I just
He's
named
finally
two
got
guys.
a quarterback, too, to throw him the ball.
But how good is that guy? I mean, the separation that he creates, the different types of route running, and his hands are automatic. I think this kid is special. So watch it from a youth standpoint. I watched him last night, and I'm going, man, he just keeps getting better and better. I think it's 3 straight games with over 100 yards.
He's averaging like 115 yards a game.
He's been incredible. So those are kids like that, I mean, young guys like that who continue to get better. That's exciting.
What sucks, and listen, so everybody knows, I'm looking at the camera on this, the NFL is our boss. We work for the NFL. I'm going to say this. We are literally paid by the NFL. You got to stop with the 9 o'clock Central games.
Yeah.
I get it. More football all the time. I'm even okay with like the European games. You wake up, you're like, oh, I forgot there's a game. I couldn't watch any of it. So I'm looking at NFL.
He says that with all due respect.
The most respectful way possible.
What are the ratings, though? What are the ratings comparable?
Fantastic, probably. I have no idea.
I can't imagine. Imagine East Coast. It starts at 10.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
On a school night.
Crazy. On a school night. Okay, final question.
Yeah.
And you don't have to answer it. You can plead the fifth. Of your cast, who was the most annoying?
Yes, this is such a good question.
Just because personalities are different.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? Like, I'm not trying to just play this guy, but I'm a pretty patient man. I didn't have anyone that bothered me, annoyed me. I think it was a really good cast, as you can see. The way they paint some people, like Cody Brown or Jussie, he's gone now, how they painted them, like, they are polarizing in their own right for what they've kind of been through, I guess, or who they are. But we all built individual relationships within, that experience. And we had our comedians, Revy and Nick were hilarious. We had like our athletes that were quiet and just like, I'm going to do everything, like Randall and Sean. And then you had, some pop culture people that were just kind of a good mix as well. So I truthfully don't have anyone that I was annoyed by. There were obviously people that had conflict. I did not have that.
Who would you not invite to your house for dinner?
Good one.
Who would I not invite? Man,
You're so right down the middle.
Well, he is a nice guy.
I know.
All the time, which sucks because
that's why I don't sit in front of the
I know.
microphone
I
with you
wouldn't
guys,
believe
you know?
him, except I've seen him be nice away from a microphone.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
That sucks.
Who did I not invite? Oh, man.
Don't say me because I wasn't on the show.
You should do the show. Can we get Matt Castle signed up?
Be great.
Fox, let's go. Honestly, I would invite everyone.
All right,
There you go. There you have it. All right.
You guys
More
are all
love.
good people out
That's
We
there.
need more love in this world, damn it.
More love. Thank you guys, Matt Castle. Eric, thanks for coming by, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Kickoff Kevin, Brandon Ray, and Bobby Bones. We've had lots to say. We'll see you guys next week.
Don't make this the last time I'm invited over there.
This is the last time he's invited over.
He'll
Goodbye,
be here
everybody.
tomorrow morning for
Yes.
pickleball.